Yeah, protecting it so it doesn't get thrown back.
Hello everyone, I am the voice of the Red Wolves, Isaiah Hoffman, and we are back with another episode of Inside IUE Sports, and I am joined by Coach Kim McConaughey, the head coach for the volleyball team. How are you doing today, Coach?
I am doing all right today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We're going to jump into the season today, talk about some recruiting, off-season, the spring season we'll hit on as well. We're just going to dive all into it, but we'll start with the start of the year and kind of the off-season going into this year.
Yep.
We were there for the whole ride this season, and I enjoyed every moment. You taught us a lot about our first year in volleyball, so I enjoyed getting to know the team and players and everything else. But we'll take it back to the off-season. You know, we heard about, the chemistry that was being built through the off-season when we were at the banquet, but I want to hear it from your perspective. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but you let the players talk a lot at the banquet. For the off-season, Coach Moore, Coach Meredith, they kind of gave me, what their expectations were this year. Coach Moore was kind of like, okay, we'll sit back, we'll see what happens at the start. Where Coach Meredith was kind of hands-on, was like, okay, I want to make sure we're comfortable and ready to go, but he also admitted that maybe I should have stepped back. So what was your approach in the off-season heading into this coming year?
It's coaches have different strategies for everything. We think about our season in depth. This year was more about finding leadership and being more of a student-athlete ran program, because you're going to be more successful, in my opinion, if your student-athletes are leading the way. Coach is just like a parent telling you what to do. You're like, wah, 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 the good old Charlie Brown, Peanuts kind of movies and stuff. And that was a big thing, and they wanted that role. They've shown, a lot of the players have shown they want that role. So for me, it's about trust, and it doesn't just happen overnight, but I've been here, this is my fourth season, and it's been steadily growing. And the fact that I've had, like Emily Hodson, a senior, that she was there all these 4 years with me. So, and in the junior class, they've been there all 3 years. So that's how you develop that trust, is being there and diving in. So that's kind of how I approached it. I wanted to have them run it. I'm there for them. So is Coach Callie if they needed it. But sometimes I want them to fall and get back up and be like, Coach, what do I do here? Help. But it was done really well, I think, outside the gym. We didn't have any crazy issues. And if there were some, the players handled themselves. They did their own thing. They team bonded on their own. They had dinners outside, everything. I had no idea. They did some PowerPoint things, one team bonding, and it was fun to hear about, but I was like, this is what you want. And we were successful, very, very successful with that, with the culture. But I can't take the credit for it. That's what they wanted, and that's what they did, So and that did translate to the court, So, but that's really what I wanted out of it, is seeing people step up. Coaching is like, for me, I guess sailboat. I've never been on a sailboat, but I'm not the one driving. I'm listening to the student athletes. Hey, where do you guys want to go? And then Callie and I are in the back navigating, and then telling them kind of this is the path. You know what I mean? So these are the things you have to do if you want that. So yeah, everything I think went fine. Next year will be a whole different beast because there's different people. Yeah.
So we were, like I said, we were there for the season. We saw, in my opinion, was a very successful year. How did you feel about the year? How did you feel about the season, expectations-wise, and also telling, positive and negatives? What did you improve on from last year to this year, and what are some things you're looking to improve on going into next year in spring season and the off season?
Right. I'm always about consistency. We got to be consistent, and your consistency really is do or die for you. And as an athlete, just as a normal human being, you got to be consistent in your actions. And we were not as consistent. And I think that was our downfall. We just didn't create enough habits, and we didn't consistently follow through. We felt a lot of success early, which was good. Nobody was, we're going to be good, and just laid off the gas pedal. We stayed on the gas pedal, but we left out, me included. This would be my downfall as a coach, developing some habits. The record's great. Everything else, the record doesn't just determine how good you are, But that was the biggest thing, is the inconsistency. We just made a lot of errors in matches, and even we may have pulled them out and won those matches we made a lot of errors in, so it was false sense of success. So but I still like the structure of the season. I still like how the players responded every single practice. We would, after matches, we had these things called match debriefs, and we talked about them. They came out to practice, focused on them. Like, you heard things being echoed from what was in the meeting into practice. So there was good carryover. But we're still just not, as you can tell, we're not there where we want to be yet, because we have a lot of talent. It's just a matter of, there's a lot of luck that goes into seasons too, you know, of just being the luck of the draw, sometimes a point going one way or not. And, you know, I don't want to count on luck. I want to count on our consistency. So that's kind of where I'm at with the season. I'm happy, but not satisfied.
Of course, yeah.
So.
And it was a very wild season, and I've really grown to love the sport just by learning it. You guys taught me a lot about it as well. I know one thing we talked about, I forgot what point through the year, but you were talking about transitions. Is that something that you felt was improved as we got towards the end of the year, or do you still feel like there's some things that we still need to work on a bit?
So transitioning, you know, from offense to defense and then defense to offense, you know, and that was the biggest thing. In volleyball, whoever holds the serve the most will win. So you really want to work on holding serve, which means you're in transition a lot. You're going from defense to offense. And we got to get better at that for sure, because that's more of a grind, because it's hard. That's probably the hardest part. And we got better, but like I said, I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied. So that's where I'm at with that.
Well, not only did the team have a lot of success, a lot of the players had success as well. Specifically, all three of the juniors, Reese Shirley, Tia Barrett-Matthews, and Jessica Swim, all of them were named All-Americans. Talk about each of them, you know, individually. What impact did they have on the court and off the court? We got into that a little bit at the banquet as well. But for the viewers that will see this interview and weren't at the banquet, what can you tell us about those three players individually, and just, you know, and Jessica and Reese had a major accomplishment this year as well, but just go ahead and go inside, go into detail, you know, about those players on and off the court.
We'll start with Jess. This is her third year, honorable mention All-American, and her numbers have gone up every single year, but so is everybody else's. So it's extremely difficult to get to that level. And the coolest thing is she did it for 3 years in a row, right? Now, I know she's not satisfied with it because she wants to get off the honorable mention list of it, but I think we focus a lot on individual success, but your team's got to be successful too, you know, in order for that to happen. But I mean, she also was academic academic honors too. I mean, that's another one. She's got the whole package. So I mean, that's obviously, she's worked a lot this season. This season was really fun for me to coach her. She just changed a lot. She was more mature, I think, in her actions and her responses and her emotions, and trying to be a better teammate, be a better leader, because she knows. She knows to get anywhere, your team's got to be good. I mean, that's so everybody knows that. As far as Tia, that's Tia. Yeah, Tia deserving that All-American status for sure. Honorable mention. But she did great. I mean, she's, in my opinion, of course, my best middle in the conference. But I mean, I might be a little biased, but she's an all-around fun person to be with, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing about Tia, is that she's a off-court leader, but secretly. Like, people are really comfortable around her because she just goes and she's very consistent. She's probably one of the most consistent players. And I think that's the biggest compliment to her, is being consistent. She's grown into that one. As far as Reese Shirley goes, Reese's numbers this year were awesome, fantastic, you know. And of course, I would have loved her to get like setter of the region this year, but we didn't make it past our conference tournament. But I mean, she had the numbers for it. But she's been working off the court to be just a better leader, a better person too. And that's what it is. If you want to get those awards, you got to be the whole package. But I mean, there's a lot of talent in that class, but a lot of them, the biggest thing is we got a lot of awards for academic stuff, and I'm always proud of that one too. So
I've said it for really all throughout IU East right now. It kind of feels like there's a changing of the guard from like the old guard. There's a lot of young talent on a lot of the teams, whether it's basketball, even soccer, and even in volleyball. There's a lot of young talent that's very talented as well, that is making a very strong impact on this team. Just a lot of improvements. But what was the one game where you kind of felt like, okay, I think we're really putting it together, or I think we can really go on a run? Was there a game, not even a game, maybe even a practice,
stretch,
or just a moment?
Even a stretch of the season. You know, as I talked to my assistant, Callie, about how I envisioned the season and stuff like that, and I told her, I was like, everything came to fruition. I really do, except for kind of after the Kokomo win. The Kokomo win at home was great. We got a monkey off our back. Fantastic. The unfortunate part is
the next
day, we were emotionally hungover for St. Mary of the Woods, and St. Mary of the Woods plays out of their mind. Compliments to them, they did great, and we just weren't prepared. I always tell my girls, tell these young ladies that our worst day's got to be better than someone else's best day, and that was we were close. It was a tight match. I mean, that was one of our
Every game was, yeah.
That was one of our worst matches, and we were right there with them. That was their best match. We were right there, but it is what it is. But we just need to be able to respond to that and understand the consistency. We shouldn't get that high, and this is on me too. We shouldn't get that high for a team or that low for a team. You should be consistent and treat all of them the same things. But after that, it was okay. But the one match that I remember, the last conference match at Tech, it was just a lot of good stuff was happening. It was a 1-2-3, pretty easy match on the road, even long travel, and there was just some fluidity there that was just really nice. And on the bench, when they walked on the court, when they walked off the court, during plays, it was just the puzzle pieces all fit together. And I was like, that was really exciting going into conference tournament. I was like, okay, this is it. This is exactly what I want. This is when it should happen. And the conference tournament happened, and we go back to the inconsistent part of making a bunch of errors. I'm telling you, I'll go back to consistency all the time as a coach. So that'll be a big harp in spring.
And we've always talked about that, consistency. On the broadcast, we'll talk about it. Even when we're talking about the basketball team right now, having those dry spells, they kill you throughout any stretch of a game or whatnot.
Yep.
So I agree with what you just said right there.
Working with the bank, the hours are amazing. And I get to spend more time with my wife and my son. I get to make plans with my extended family. I can actually take vacations. It doesn't matter if I'm sick or not. They respect the work-life boundaries. Just promote a more healthy environment. It means everything to me. I couldn't be happier. I love this place. We're ready for you.
We know this legendary institution. They have 3 goals: pain-free, quicker recovery, and shorter hospital stays. Here are your doctors of Reed Orthopedics. The eviscerator of pain, Dr. Chris Nair. Dr. James Bones Natal. The Wizard of Wall Street, Dr. Mario Lee. The talent, Dr. Joel McClurg. This team, this care, this treatment. The doctors of Reed Orthopedics.
With local BTV, it's easier than ever to view all that WCTV offers.
I can now stream local government meetings direct to my TV.
Now I can watch local programming right from my phone.
I can easily view recorded and live events on my computer.
With a few clicks on any device, you're ready to view WGTV Channel 11, WETV Channel 20, and WCTV Channel 21. With local BTV, you're able to stay entertained and informed.
Right there. Spring season. I know when we talked before this, you wanted to dive into spring season because it's not really talked about. Everyone's just like, you have the season, then you have the off season.
They're like, what are you guys doing now with all your extra time? I'm like, what extra time?
So what does go on in spring season? What do you guys do?
Yeah, I would love to talk about that.
Soccer said they had, I think for the men, they have like 3 games in the spring. Do you guys have any games in the spring, or is it just really practices?
It's like scrimmages. It's kind of different. We'll go somewhere else, maybe on a Saturday. It's just one day, play a few sets, not a whole match, but it's different. There's going to be a lot of weightlifting. It's when we make some gains. As far as I'll talk about the physical stuff. We'll do some of that stuff. Work with our strength coach, Nate Flannery, who's been phenomenal with our team. They'll work with him, get stronger, faster, all that fun stuff. Then we'll start volleyball. We'll do individuals, a lot of times like positional stuff for an hour, 2 hours a day with each person, and go to team practices and stuff. So it's spring. This is how we always say in volleyball, I like to say, is when you walk out of the gym, if you don't feel like you have 2 left feet, you're doing something wrong. Because during the season, during the fall season, after preseason, you just got to go. You just have to make do with what you got. And then during the spring, you can fine tune stuff. It might be just as picky as, okay, your toes pointed 90 degrees that way, I need it 45 degrees this way instead. And you just repeat. It's that consistency. You repeat it to make it a habit. And creating habits is rather difficult. You're rewiring brain. So spring is very taxing mentally. And you got coaches on you all the time. No, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Because that's what we're trying to create habits. And I think they forget that coaches are the ones that we are your biggest critique, And but then we also work on culture stuff. We're always working on culture stuff. We're reading a book called Atomic Habits this spring because remember what I just said?
Yeah.
We need to develop some habits and consistency. So we're going to dive into that. I mean, you're studying the sport, and you also need to study how to improve yourself. I mean, as a coach, if we're not making these young people better to be prepared for life after, then we're not doing our job. And that's really what it is. It doesn't come down to the wins and losses. It comes down to how they've developed over these 4 or 5 years. And it's an investment. It doesn't, it doesn't pay its dividends till sometimes 5 years after when I get a phone call from a alum like, you were right. That one time you talked to me about this, I was so mad. And I'm like, I don't remember it, but I sure, and it's just, that's when you see it. But that's spring. Spring's really hard. And we got some games, but not a lot. It's a lot of practicing. It's a lot of practicing, but I don't know, a lot more free time too for the players. But we are recruiting heavily in spring.
Yeah, I want to hit back on the book because I know this was also talked about at the banquet. Is this a new book?
It's a new book. Yep.
So you guys finished the first book.
Yeah, Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Okay, you guys finished that towards when did you guys finish that one?
Sometime during the beginning of fall season. Okay. It was only about 100-some pages. I highly suggest it for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you for Tyler Rigby, the men's basketball assistant who led me to that book.
And then so you guys will finish. Is there like a goal when to finish the book, and how do you guys do you read it as a group, or is it like I don't know how do you?
I mean, it's almost like a course, like a college course. What I'm trying to do, but a little more fun, so it doesn't feel like a college course. But I also need to finish reading it and figure out the structure of it and what we really want to do. But sometimes books have these awesome things on a website, and you can download tools to help you. So that's kind of with this book too. So it's also every year or every semester, I would just like to say, there's something to learn. And this is what habits and consistency is what this team needs to learn now. And hopefully the plan is you layer that into the next fall season 23. And so we don't have to read this book again. The people that were here can understand that, deliver the message to the incoming people. I always layer, so if the freshmen can learn something, then we remind them, they can remind the new people coming in. It just it's how it happens usually in a program that's successful is the trickle down effect. So you don't always have to repeat the same thing. If you're repeating yourself all the time, then
you're at that point, you're just talking, as my mom would say, you're just talking to a wall.
Talking to a wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
How long have you done the book? When did the book idea come? When did you come up with the idea? Have you done it before?
Yes, done it before.
Have you done it since you started?
Yes. Well,
Gotcha.
There was a book we first started with, Power of a Positive Team by John Gordon. That was when I was an interim head coach in the spring. We really needed some structure in our culture. We developed a mission statement. We got some core values and all that.
Yep.
Yes, and all these things, and it really helped. And Callie was a part of that. My assistant coach Callie was a part of that. So she's seen this all come to, full circle with it. So she loves it. So if any of the players really want to know what happened at the beginning, she was there, and she's back. So anyway, so it's spring is a lot of using that mind a lot.
And you also mentioned in the spring there's a lot of recruiting. We've saw on just social medias, there's already been 2 recruits that have committed.
Yes.
How is recruiting going besides the 2 that you've already got committed, and what are you looking for in recruiting to make the team better, maybe not now, but in the future?
Right, and that's the biggest thing. I'm very particular now about who we're bringing in, very particular because we're protecting our culture, protecting what we need, and it's now that we got the consistency of everybody staying, it's easier. I don't want to say easy, nothing's easy about recruiting, but you can kind of see the pieces that you need to be there. Summer Hendershot from Carroll High School, who was our first signee, a DS. Oh my gosh, she is just an energy and so grateful. And just super happy to be going to be part of the team. Communicates all the time. Is already getting people on board. Her family's the same way. She is what we need too. The energy that just wants to get in the gym. Dana Key from Frankton High School. She's a very versatile. She's a middle, but probably could play right side. Versatile player. She came in and had a great visit. And when she said yes, I was like, oh goodness, thank gosh. She's another one, and she already has some people. I think there was somebody that came on asking to be a manager. And I think they were from her high school. She's already got people surrounding her coming this way, and she hasn't even worn a jersey one time. Yeah. So that's a compliment to her and her family. So she's gonna, like I said, middle right side. So we still got some holes to fill. We got some pins outside right side to fill, but we're talking to people. It's always talking. Recruiting is a journey. It is. We always like to say it's ABC. Always be recruiting. That's the future of your program. If you don't recruit, your program won't succeed, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've always found recruiting just interesting. So now that I'm at college, I love to hear what the process is like and stuff like that.
Nonstop.
So I've always found it interesting. So it's good to just get a little bit of insight
It is,
on how things
you got
are
to think
going.
on the flip side of it for the student athlete. It's hard for them just as it is for us. And my biggest thing is if I can tell any recruits out there, please message your coaches back. Please get back with them, because that's the biggest thing is you're trying to see the next person or they're trying to see the next school, and it's just seeing if everybody fits.
Yeah.
And I always tell student athletes at that time, I'm like, be very selfish at this time. Like, this is about you, and you're not going to hurt my feelings. I just need to know. And that's how we are. We're going to be very selfish because we're protecting our program and being particular. So it's
just about finding the right fit.
Yeah, it is. It's about finding the right fit. I want you to come and I want you to stay here. I don't want you to transfer. I want you to come here and come be invested and get your degree from here. Yeah, for sure. Buy-in's a big deal. It's a big deal.
You guys, of course, travel away games, and I've asked every single coach this, and I've also asked, what the players think. The players have all said Pittsburgh, but I'll ask you, where was your favorite place? Where's your favorite place to travel every year? Or where was your favorite place to travel this year when you guys go out for away games? All the players, but this was soccer, they said Pittsburgh because of the stadium and stuff like that, but it doesn't have to be for the stadium. What did the players enjoy traveling to the most, or where did you enjoy traveling the most?
They'd probably say IU Southeast this year was a fun. It was because I was just so fun.
Okay. Was it the TikTok?
No, the TikTok was a team bonding at my family farm.
Gotcha.
That was my first ever TikTok. All right. It's on the Instagram if you want to check it out. IU Southeast was fun. Road trips are kind of fun. That was an SUV ride. SUV rides versus bus rides are different. SUV rides, you're smaller and you got smaller groups, a little more compact, and get some interesting stories going on. Those are always fun road trips. And then the game, it's a little embarrassing. I didn't think I would speak of this, but I might have had too much coffee or something beforehand from the Roscoe's down the street, and I was just giggly for some reason. I think they talked about for sure talked about it, and that was not professional of me. But they had a good time. We had a good time, and it is what it is. And we played really well. And it's, but they're like, "Coach, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I am totally fine. I'm just enjoying myself. I don't." But it was, and Tim Scales drove our third SUV for us, so that was really fun. Had a professor from here to drive us. It was just a good all-around trip. A lot of people involved.
So they would say Southeast. Would you say Southeast as well, or do you have like a?
I don't know.
You don't know for sure?
I don't think about those things until you ask me these questions. To me, I don't think about the road trips like that. I think about,
what are we going to do for the year?
What are we going to do? Yep. I like road trips where I'm not driving. I like the bus road trips because then I can focus on the matches coming up. Yep. Because when I'm driving SUVs, I got to get these young people to healthy and make sure we're okay. I'm focused on my driving.
Yep,
So whenever I can focus on what my job is, I prefer that road trip.
I gotcha. And then, I hope you guys have a good spring workout, good spring season.
Yes.
But what are we looking forward to next season? What can, IU East, the fans, what can they expect to come out to and, see the team do? And what are your goals heading into the season?
I'm going to tell you this. That's a really hard question.
Okay.
Because that's thinking I have some things, but I haven't invested my time. I'm a very particular coach. I like to really make sure I can picture everything and figure out the path to get there.
It's still a little
It's blurry because I haven't finished my spring and I want to see that. But of course, we want to go to the final site. If I had to make a goal, which I don't really like to be personal here. I don't like the word goal because winners and losers have the same goal. It's a matter of executing who executes the stuff better. And of course, I want to go to the final site. Of course, I want to make a run there. Of course, I want to be nationally relevant. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Me as personally as a coach, but it means nothing if my players don't want the same thing. Coaches can't want it more than the players. So can I vision it? For sure. But I just got to figure out as a coach how to get the players to want it more than I want it. And what we have to do to get there, what you have to do when people aren't watching, how much effort and time you're putting into all the small details. And it's like I told you, it takes some luck sometimes to get that far, but 99% of it is working hard. And you got to want to work hard. You got to want to do it. And so that's the hardest part as a coach, I think. But fall, I always look forward to every season, but I'm not ready yet.
Yeah. Hey,
I can't skip steps.
You know, we got to know the team very well. I'm very confident in how they'll do next year, so I'm very excited to watch.
We need more fans. We always need more fans. Come bring them out.
We gotta get more people.
We're
out,
excited to watch. We're fun to watch.
That Kokomo game, the energy was. I loved it.
So we need that energy all the time.
We gotta promote. We gotta start promoting, getting people out to those.
Let me know. Let me know what I can do.
All right, we'll get to work on that, Coach. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. We will definitely be there to broadcast. I can't wait to see how the team does and update me on recruiting. Can't wait to see how that goes. That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Inside IUE Sports. We'll catch you guys next time.